right. First video. I'm nervous. This is not any normal video I've done before, especially not for my first video. But I feel like I have to take a little bit more time to sit here and, talk to y'all and confess. Like I said before, I'm gonna be honest. And when I meant honest, I meant like not beating around the bush honest, not swerving through the truth. No, like brutally 100% honest. Not because that this is for likes or followers or subscribers, none of that. This is for the kingdom. This is for y'all to take, educate, digest, and reflect to get closer to God. Amen. So, without any of the introductions, let's start. My name is Ezekiel Josiah. I am 19, and I have not always been on the path of righteousness, on the path to God. I have done some demoralizing things just for the sake of money. Start there. But let's see. In order to tell y'all how I got back to Christ, I have to confess how I fell, where I fell, and why, and what caused me to drift away from God. So in one of my videos, I talked about having a deep intensity for isolation, wavering faith dependent on receiving things that I prayed for. But that was just not even scratching the surface. So let's just get right into it. So I grew up in foster care. My parents, they didn't raise me. My dad was a gangbanger. My mom was a prostitute. With that being said, all my siblings have different fathers. I have a younger sister, and 2 older brothers. All different dads, by the way. I don't remember much of my life with my mom because when she had me, I was still a baby, right? She was homeless on the streets, and my dad got life in jail. Life was hard. My mom got addicted to heavy drugs at the age of like 14, 15. So by the age of like my age now, like 19, I could only imagine how ruined and messed up she was. Growing up in foster care, it was not easy. I didn't have the best foster parents growing up for like the first 11, 12 years of my life. Giving a life story is just so, to me, it's just so, everybody goes through pain, but in order for me to get y'all to understand why I'm back on the path of righteousness, I have to just be transparent. Just put it plainly, I was abused. I did not get to live the life that a lot of you guys did as kids. I didn't get to, sit in front of the TV with the Elmo bowl and eat snacks or watch TV or play video games until I just got bored and fell asleep or missed school or stay home. None of that. It was harsh. It was harsh. Most of my siblings, we got separated. So it was only me and my second oldest brother living in this house, being abused. Our relationship as siblings weren't really ideal, what you may think or hope it would be with siblings. Even now, it's still rocky, but we'll get into that a little later. So, let's see. Grew up very combative, always fighting. I was forced to fight. Like, I had asthma, and they would hide my asthma medicine from me. So there were literally moments, and I was so young, By the age I could really remember anything, I had to have been like 6 years old. Like, for me to recall this, I had to be like 6 years old. But I had really bad asthma, and I would literally just be sitting in the middle of the room with the fan blowing on me, excuse me, Lord, with the fan blowing on me, just wheezing to the point where you could like see my lungs, right? And I had to fight for asthma medicine. I had to steal it. Food, we had to steal food for each other. It was very barbaric in there as young kids. I was like I really wouldn't like to call it a slave, but mostly like an entertainer, you know? There were other foster kids in the house, so anytime they wanted somebody to play with or somebody to entertain them, there I go. I'm here playing with dolls and little plushie toys and playing the game with them. But once that's over, I'm back to my life, back to forcefully massaging feet, back to being beat on, back to not eating, back to all these things that I couldn't escape back then. These people were not righteous people, but they did claim God. They did claim God. They claimed that they prayed. They claimed that they were Christian, but they did not live that life. So growing up, I didn't see God as a loving God, as a loving, eternal God. I didn't see him that way. Early on, I started listening to artists like Lil Uzi Vert, Post Malone, you know, all these people. And so mainly Lil Uzi Vert though. Like I really took on the personality. Like there was this moment where I would grab thumbtacks and I would carve devil into the door, 666 into the door. And I was really young at this age. Like I'm not even lying to you, I was really young at this age. But I was influenced. I already didn't see this God as a loving, eternal being. I didn't see that because if these people are doing these things to us, to me, and they're claiming God, obviously I'm gonna think that this is some twisted character that you worship. So it affected how I looked at God and how I felt towards God moving on in life. Let's see, with that being said, I developed, like I said, I was an angry child. Angry, like I depended on my anger. To me, anger felt like power. If I could do things out of my anger, hurt people and put fear into people, which was pretty normal, it felt good because nobody looked at me like I was an outcast. You know, nobody saw me as important. I didn't have friends. Early on, I wasn't really following the crowd. I wanted to, but people just didn't like me so much that I just didn't get so close. I didn't have a lot of friends. Didn't have a lot of girlfriends. Every girl I ever loved, plain out told me like, ew, no, you're disgusting. Like, no. Like kindergarten and like pre-K, I had a little puppy love, but that was nothing. But so anyways, like I said, it was hard to get food. We would steal food for each other. We would bring food home from school, sneaking food home from school. And as a young kid, this is you know what I'm saying? It's stuck. As a young kid, I ate out the trash, ate food out the trash, ate food off the floor. I stole food out of people's lunch pails, whatever I could find really, just to eat. And it got to about 5th or 6th grade where somebody actually caught me. Somebody said that, you know, hey, we saw you eating out of the garbage. Are you okay? And I denied it. I was like, no. And it just felt so low, so demoralizing. I felt lesser than, obviously, because everybody else didn't have to do this. But I never told anybody this because, one, everybody's too young. Two, I knew nobody could do anything or nobody would care. So I just dealt with it. Like I just dealt with it out of the years to come. I got in trouble a lot, obviously, for stealing. I stole from teachers. I just was a thief. Not because I wanted to be, not because like, oh, it's cool to be a thief, but I lived a life I was shameful to confess to people about. You know, being young, Everybody had the, I just bit my tongue. Ah! But growing up, everybody had the Jordans. You know, they went to school dressed nice, wearing cologne. I didn't. I didn't get that luxury. Like, I know my hair looks pretty long now. It wasn't always like this. My hair was fully cut, bald. Like, so, once people knew that Ezekiel eats out of the garbage, and you know, I used to ask a lot for people's food, like around the lunch table. Hey, you gonna eat that? Hey, you gonna finish that? Hey, you gonna eat that? And people at this point, they just kind of like, they just like, you know, like, I remember this one dude, and like when I was in like middle school, he called me a rat. He was like, bro, you're like a rat. Like you just eat everybody's leftovers, dude. And it felt like that hit home. That hit home because it's like that's what people see me as, a little pest, just always scurrying for the bits of food that I could find. Because once I go home, it's not like that. This is not easy. Okay. I got into a lot of fights. Like I said, using my anger as a primary tool to get my way or to assert myself, I got into a lot of violent fights to the point where I choke people, trying to choke people out. I'm slamming the back of their head into the floor. Like I was genuinely an angry child. Now, high school, freshman year of high school, right? You would think something's changed. No, much didn't change. I was the shortest in my class. Everybody laughed at me. Obviously, I didn't have hair. I was bald because they wouldn't let me grow my hair out. And so I was just ridiculed, pushed to the side, outcasted. The girls didn't even look my way. And if they did, they were laughing, all right? I'm telling you, like, my head was getting slapped more than the girls, but like they used to have this thing, you know, Slap Friday. That was the day my head was red, bro. Like no mercy, just right on the back of that dome, that chrome dome. But anyways, I've never been the type to follow people. Let's start there. I've always had fear in my heart. Like I never really wanted to do what everybody did, but I wanted to have what they had. You know what I'm saying? Like the nice clothes, the women, the money, the jewelry, the status. But I never really wanted to do what they had to do to get there. For example, I've had a lot of friends from elementary, and as soon as they got into high school, they just start portraying this gang image, this thug image. And I tried to follow it a little bit, but it just didn't stick with me. I was a nerd. I was a geek. I was an outcast. That's where I put myself. Quite literally, that's where I put myself. I remember this one time during lunch break, and by the way, I went to McNair, you know, my freshman year. I went to McNair High School out in Stockton. That's where I'm from. So I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting near the atrium or whatever, and I got my computer out, and there's a whole line of nerds, I guess you could call them, with their computers out. They're all doing homework and studying. Me, I'm playing this little Dragon Ball Z game, but it was fun to me. Like that's who I was. I didn't see anything wrong with it, right? My older brother just so happens to be walking there, and he sees me, and he was kind of like disgusted and embarrassed. Like, what are you doing? Like, you look like a nerd right now. Like, look at everybody, you look like a nerd. But it was who I am. It was who I am. Like, I couldn't switch it up to be like anybody else because it just didn't. In my heart, there was fear in there to try and impress other people. I just couldn't do it. So I would have rather not have friends than to do things to be around y'all. It's to be said. So like I said, me and my brother have never had the closest relationship. You know, I've tried to kill him more than once. And just saying that bluntly just sounds so crazy. But I've pulled knives out on him more times than I could ever count. Like, quite literally. I've even thrown a knife at him, trying to hurt him. Quite literally. Um, Fast forward to like 2019, we ended up getting out of that house. My brother, my older brother, obviously the one who I don't have a good relationship with, he ended up getting us out. He ended up running away, which caused a lot of attention. He ended up being homeless for a little bit. And so finally, we got out of there, right? Praise the Lord, you know what I'm saying? We got out of there. It felt good. It felt good. Like my heart felt free. Like I literally felt like I could breathe again. And so we ended up, all of us, like every child that was in the house, and it had to have been like 8 of us, 7 of us. So we all hopped into this little CPS van, and they took us to Mary Graham. I was like 13, 14 at the time, maybe. And that's kind of when I had my bit of freedom, when I was like out in the world now, you know? So I started to dress a little different. I started to actually wear jeans instead of uniform clothes. I started to let my hair grow, cut my hair, get the fades, get the little parts in my hair. I started to actually have a bit of freedom, a bit of leeway. And nothing necessarily changed at school. Like people started to notice, like, oh, okay, I see it. Like you up your swag a little bit. I see you. But nothing really changed. Like I still didn't have friends. I still didn't have the crowd. But I had freedom now. So I was always just listening to music. Music has been like, I could say, a best friend for me. Like as long as I have, literally, but as long as I have, you know, earphones, AirPods, that was cool. Like turn on my favorite song and just think about my life. And I've always wanted to be successful since a baby, since a youngin'. I've always wanted to be rich. Not necessarily rich so I could buy whatever I wanted, but just so I never had to worry about money again. And so people would finally like me. The women would finally choose me first. That sounded so sad. But no, right, it's the truth. Like I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be mildly rich, to the point where it didn't even make sense for me to have so much money. And that's just been my entire life. Like just wanting to be rich, wanting to be at the top, looking down on people who ridicule me, you know, laughing at them. Ha ha ha, look who gets the last laugh. You outcasted me. Now look at me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one you gotta come to. I don't know what that was. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to be rich, right? And so music was just like something I could just let my thoughts just flow. Like I didn't have to do, I just sit there and listen to music full volume. And so fast forward, we ended up getting into a foster home of I don't even want to say it like that. We got into a foster home and they were of Mexican origin. Now, I have no problems with Mexicans. I didn't want to make it sound like that. I actually love y'all. The food was amazing. She cooked every day. And she hand cooked it too. You walk in the kitchen and she got like corn maz or whatever it's called. She got the whole thing on the counter and she just making these like, I don't even know what to call them. I don't even know if they were like tamales or whatever. They were so good. Right? She make pozole, she make ceviche. It was just a whole new world for me because I've never even had food. I ate out the garbage, bro. Like, this was different. We got our first Xbox. Boy. So, like, you know, I've always been a big gamer. Always been a big gamer. So when we got the Xbox, it was just, it was already set. Like, I didn't really leave the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, where the foster home was, we were in close by Kelly Drive. I don't know if any of you know where that's at, but it's like a hood area kind of, but it's not, I don't know. But yeah, so I was like still 14 at the time. First Xbox One, you know what I'm saying? As soon as we got GTA, oh my Goodness, I was literally in there behind that game. My brother, he would just be outside with the kids in the neighborhood, out there fighting with the kids in the neighborhood. Me, I'm in the house on that game. And if I could be honest to y'all, the game saved me. The game saved me from being out in the streets. And I'm not even just saying that, because hanging out with them kids in the neighborhood, all they did was smoke, fight, and rap. That's literally what we did. We would just be outside freestyling. We'll be at his grandma's house, his auntie's house, his sister's house, smoking. And then at the time, I didn't really smoke, because I have asthma. So I would just eat edibles, getting high off edibles. And I actually got caught one time. I walked into the house and my eyes were as red as they could have ever been. And I kept on, I kept like sniffling and stuff because like, I don't know what the edibles did to me, but it like released some type of allergens. But anyways, I got caught. I didn't really get into much trouble. I just couldn't play the game. So I was outside with my brother and the kids in the neighborhood. And didn't really get into much trouble. We did this break and entering, if that's what you want to call it. We thought it was an abandoned house. It was not an abandoned house. There was actually a couple that lived there, and they ended up getting home, and we were there. And dude, we walked in there, like we just start going through the house looking for anything. It was horrible. If you were inside the house, you'd think it was abandoned too. The whole kitchen just had just a whole bunch of stuff on the floor. The garage had this car that was like broke down. It wouldn't move if you pushed it. But yeah, they ended up getting home. They called the police, but we got out of there before the police could get to us. We actually ended up seeing the police riding around the neighborhood looking for a group of kids, but we were hiding out. Like we were in somebody's sister's house, just hiding out. So around like 8 p.m. that night, we ended up going home. They ended up being outside, doing whatever they do. I go home, I get on the game, and that's that. I spent so much time on the game that like I really feel like the game saved me from joining any type of gang, because I didn't have a backbone when I was younger. Like I was a yes man. Anything that you say we was gonna do, I'm gonna do it too, because I don't want to be looked at how I used to be looked at. Like, oh, bro, you just lame, get out of here. Even though that's who I was. By the heart, by the spirit, that's who I was. So, stayed in the house on the game. I started to develop this, like, wanting to get money. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and I forget to mention, this family also went to church. They went to church every Sunday. But by this time, I wasn't, like I had no love for God, no wanting to love God. I didn't even regard him in my mind or in my life. I did what I want and lived how I want. And truth be told, I saw Lucifer as some form of strength. Because up until 14, till that age, my anger had protected me. You know what I'm saying? It kept people away from me. They would always think twice. Once I got mad, then that's when I would just unleash, right? And so I didn't really go into the church a lot. I always stayed in the van. And here's where the first addiction comes in. My brother shows me this video of this black dude and this white girl having sex. I had never seen it before, and it looked good. My first time jerking off, I was in the shower. I ended up sitting down, and I started thinking about this girl that we used to live in the foster house with prior. And she wasn't the most beautiful, but she was beautiful to us. And I just started thinking about her, and the Lord forgive me because the thoughts are coming in now. But I started thinking about her, and those lustful thoughts just started coming in. And I started, I started to enjoy the feeling afterwards. Afterwards, I felt different. Obviously I had done something I had never done before. I had felt a little grown, if I'm being honest. And I didn't see the signs of addiction early. I did not. I didn't think that this was something I could be addicted to until I started to have a lot of personal free time. Like I said, I stayed in the house on the game. My brother was always outside. So when I'm off the game, I go to the room. I didn't have a phone yet. I had this little school computer that the school provided us with. And figured out how to, get onto them websites. And that's where it started. I started doing it a lot. I can't even tell you, like, a lot. Like, I would do it. I would come out, grab some snacks, grab something to drink. And then right back upstairs. Or I would do it, come play the video game. And I was playing GTA. So at 14, you ride around GTA. I thought the game was so cool. They got these prostitutes standing around and you're just like, yeah, it got to me. Back upstairs. Like it just started a whole chain of poor addiction. Right. Then I started to develop an intense love for money. I wanted to make money. Like, I felt like if I had money, I could change my entire character. Money was going to prove, not only to me, but to everybody, that I was now worth more than just what I used to be or what everybody used to think I was. So I ended up leaving that foster home and I went to another foster home out in a country club. And the lady, she was a black woman. She was single and she had a house of boys, foster boys, and she had some of her own sons who were grown at the time. But a house full of foster boys, right? And we ended up, one of the boys, we ended up like fighting. It was supposed to be like a cool thing, like yo, we just boys and we fight. She knew that, like, she knew the boys fought. It was nothing to her because we're boys and it's supposed to be something that isn't supposed to make anybody mad. But they didn't really know me. I had just kind of got there. It had only been like 2 weeks. We get into the first fight and like I said, anger came out. I rushed to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. Obviously I didn't get close to the kid, but I was like real angry and I was really, really trying to hurt this boy with this knife. Ended up getting kicked out of that house. Ended up in like some type of mental health facility type of thing, because I obviously had anger issues. So I can't remember where these places were, but I remember I had to wear like blue scrubs and we couldn't wear shoes or anything. And I met some pretty cool people in there. And it's crazy because all of them had talked about doing drugs, PCP and pills and acid. And at this time, we're all like 14, 15, 16, right? I'm like, bro, what are y'all talking about? Like, they're like, bro, where you coming from? I'm like, bro, I'm coming from the streets. Like, they all laughed at me because they can see I was so short. And bro, one of them literally told me, he was like, bro, if you walked up on me gangbanging, I would have laughed at you. But he could say that, but with the anger I had on the outside, there's no way I would have allowed that anyways. So I didn't make no friends in there, but I was there for a few months. Now this is the first time I'm on my own, completely on my own. No brothers, no foster siblings, nothing. It's just me. I carried the porn addiction with me, not as much in the mental health facility because it's like monitored. If you're gone for longer than like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but they looking for you. So yeah, there was that. And fast forward, I ended up going back to Mary Graham. Actually, one of the kids I had met in the facility, he was there, you know. Name was AJ, and we became pretty cool. I kicked it around him. I started to like basketball, started to get into basketball, wanting to play sports. And then there was that. I ended up leaving there and going to a group home. I was in a group home, and I was at that group home for about 2-3 years. About 2-3 years. I left when I was like 16. Yeah. So from like 14 to 16, I was in a group home. Now, being in this group home, life had got a little bit better. I was a little bit more mature. I had gotten to sports. I started doing wrestling, which was surprisingly pretty fun. I started to develop crushes. Oh, I had a crush on this one girl, boy. And I'm gonna just say right there, when I fall in love with a woman, it's intense. All right, it's intense. I'm already ready to give her the world. I gotta prove to her that I'm the man that she's been missing, that the one that she needs in her life. But I'd been so young, I didn't have anything to offer to her but sweet words. And that's the truth. I had nothing to offer but sweet words. And I didn't have a girlfriend back then. But in the group home, met a homie named Victor. Me and Victor, we became homies, bro. We were like, us together was the most annoying thing you could ever have. Like we were so cool, bro. But the porn addiction picked up. It picked up. I was doing it so many times a day to the point where it started to hurt down here. Like it was sore. I would get like cuts, burns. But it was serious, bro. Like it's not like it's nothing to play with. It's real life. It's realistic, right? And it took me away from women. Like I didn't have the confidence to even go talk to women. Sometimes women would just be staring at me, and then I'd mean mug. Like, what are you looking at me for? And as I got older, or more mature, I guess, as I started to mature a little bit, and I started to talk to women, I realized how awkward and unconfident porn was making me. Like, it wasn't even funny. Like, I would start sweating, stuttering. I'm over here thinking in my mind, what do I say? I have to start a conversation. There would be times where we would talk, and then we'd just be silent, just be walking somewhere silent. And then when I can think of something to say, it's not even anything engaging. So I'm like, wow, this must be hard for her, because I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I had a girlfriend my freshman year of high school, but it wasn't anything real. Like, I got played so bad, it wasn't even fun. Like, it was just like, whatever, man. But I had felt, and I'm gonna be honest, as long as I could get a quick pleasure, I was okay. I was fine. I was doing sports and stuff, and the biggest lie people told me was that it's normal, it's natural. You know, it's a form of maturity. And as a young, I believed it. But it started to get so bad. It started to get so horrible. And I was just like, bro, I wish I never started this. Like, I wish I never got into this in the beginning. Like, I couldn't remember myself before porn. And that's how bad it got. So it carried on. And now we talk about the staff of the group home. Now, when I turned like 15, this is where God starts to kind of come in more deeply. I didn't believe in God's love. I knew God existed. I believe he existed, but I didn't believe in his love. So I would be upstairs in my room by myself, praying to the devil. Quite literally, any demonic, satanic prayer I could find on the internet or any prayer I could read, I was praying it. And it was quite literally, it got so bad that I didn't have the lights on in my room. I stayed in the dark. And my room was cold, like really cold. I didn't even let people really in my room. And once they would come in here, they would turn the lights on and I immediately shut them off. Like, don't turn it on. Because the light gave me a weird feeling on the inside. Like, ugh, like this is uncomfortable to be around all of this light. So when the sun would come up, I'd literally have stuff over the walls to cover the light. And when I would come downstairs to eat, I'd make it pretty quick, or I'd only come out when it's starting to get dark. So I was lost. I really genuinely believed that there was good in Lucifer, that Lucifer wasn't what everybody had said he was, because I had such a twisted look on God already that I didn't feel like changing it. I didn't believe it was worth changing. I didn't believe it could change, right? And I kind of confessed to the whole house, I hate God. Like, I quite literally said it just like that, but with more anger and more ferocity. I don't even know if that's a word, but more ferocious anger. Like, I hate with a more ferocious passion. I gotta stop doing that. What is that? What is that? Oh. Anyways, but I had a ferocious passion of anger for God, right? So I was literally in my room pledging loyalty, pledging my entire spirit, my entire being to the Lord. I mean, not to the Lord, I'm sorry, to the devil, to Lucifer. I wanted to be rich, and that's basically what I told him. I'm like, I want to be rich. I want everything that this world has to offer. I want it all. Give it to me, and I'm yours forever. Right? Not knowing what I'm doing or what I'm saying or what I'm really asking for. Fast forward, I met this man named Gabriel. He was working at a staff there, and quite unexpectedly, he talked to me about God. He was talking to some of the other kids. He was talking to Victor and another kid of the house. And I'm walking past, going to play the game, or I think I was going upstairs or something like that. And they were like, Ezekiel doesn't believe in God. And he stopped me. He was like, really? Like, he got such a smile on his face from this. It was weird to me, right? And he was like, can I talk to you? You gonna come sit down? And at first I was like, no, like, I don't want to do this again. Like, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't want to make time for this, right? But I was like, whatever. It's not going to change how I feel. I'm thinking it's not going to change how I think. It's not going to change how I feel. I'm going to just sit down. What you go talk about, right? And I basically told him, like, he was like, so you don't believe in God? I was like, no. Quite literally, I was like, no. And he just kind of started explaining it to me. Really, I can't really remember what he was explaining, but it impacted me. It impacted me to a change, to where I kind of woke up, to where I started to fear God. Like, that was literally what it was. It was fear. Fear was the first, it pushed me to like, okay, you mean to tell me I confessed hate for this man and he could have just dropped me? Listen, now this when I got scared. So I was like, wow. So then I start kind of taking God serious a little bit, not knowing what it meant, but I was afraid. I was afraid. And he left me with this this little paraphrased Bible or whatever. I didn't really read it back then. I was stuck on video games, stuck on GTA, stuck on porn, right? These things weren't easy to give up. I thought it was. These things weren't easy to give up. He tried to help me as best he could, as much as I allowed him to help me, actually, which was not a lot. I ended up falling back into sin. Even with him taking me to his churches and him kind of showing me God's love a little bit, I still ended up falling. Like, I still ended up falling back into porn, back into video games. He kind of tell me like, yo, GTA, that game is sinful. It's not good for you. But I love GTA. Like, GTA was like the first thing I was on GTA for hours. It was just, it saved me from what I could have really been doing. But yeah, so I didn't want to give up GTA. I didn't want to give up video games. I didn't want to give up porn. So I stopped chasing God. I just stopped. That fire I had in me just like that. And just like that, I was back to normal. It got bad to a point where me and Victor tried to get Gabriel fired. Like, we did this a lot with some of the staff in there, but we tried to get Gabriel fired. And it was just like you can just like tell, like, it was just not holy, not righteous, not godly. And this is so much sun coming through there. Jeez. But it just wasn't holy. It wasn't right. And he actually ended up quitting. Or I don't know if he got fired or if he quit. But yeah. He ended up not being there no more. And I felt good about it at first, because it's like, now I don't have to feel shameful about what I'm doing. Now I don't have to feel convicted of what I'm doing. I can just do what I used to do and do it freely, right? No one's gonna say anything. And I started to slip back to my old ways deeper now. Like, I was deep into porn addiction, to the point where it opened up some very weird outlets, if I could say that. One of the kids in the group home, he ended up, I don't know if it was a website or what it was, but he ended up finding all these dark videos, like people having sex with animals and people's head getting chopped off, and it was just disgusting. But to me, I thought it was so cool. Like, I had never watched videos this deep. And so I'm in my room and I'm just scrolling, just watching these videos, and I come across a few bestiality videos. And I stood there and I just watched. And I just watched and I just watched and I just watched. And I started to enjoy watching them. Well, very odd enough. Like, the shame is raining down on me right now. It's starting to get hot in here. Hold on. Thank you, Jesus. All right. But yeah. So I developed that. Yeah. I can't even look at the camera right now. But I told y'all I was gonna be honest. Did I not? Is this not honesty? Am I sweating? I might be. But anyways, oh yeah, I'm sweating. Woo, boy. So yeah, I ended up developing some very weird attractions watching porn. Fast forward, I bought my first pocket toy, if you will. And that took me to a whole new level of ejaculation. It felt different, it felt good. I was in the bathroom back to back doing it, bro. I wasted a lot of my seed recklessly, like water. Like, it's literally like spilling water. Quite literally, just like that's how it was for me. Just so reckless and just so, easy. But it took its toll on me. It took its toll. I became a lot less engaged with women, not talking to women. I always had this negative look that all women were just whores or prostitutes, and it was negative. All because of the porn I was watching, right? And looking at it, I'm like, bro, there's no way you know, and it had nothing to do with women. It had nothing to do with them being or doing what they do. It was me giving myself up to porn. Every piece of myself went to porn, and it took me away. So fast forward, I'm like 16 now, 16 turning 17, I believe. And I'm leaving the group home. I am now leaving the group home. And Gabriel actually came to you know, to see me off. And I'm so grateful and thankful that he did that, because before he did, before he got there, I'm sitting around with Victor and them, and then, you know, they were smoking weed. They smoked weed. I didn't smoke weed at the time. Like I said, I had asthma, so I didn't engage in smoking weed. But everybody else in the group home did. So the day I leave, they're like, bro, you gotta smoke this with us, bro. You said you was gonna smoke with us. And I did say that, but I never really thought they were gonna make me smoke with them. So I hit the pipe a little bit, and I didn't really hit it, but I hit it enough to smell like weed. Gabriel comes and he's like, you smell like weed. And I could see the disappointment in his face. And it really did make me feel shameful. And he prayed for me before I left. He prayed for me before I left, and he actually let me keep his paraphrased Bible. So now I'm in Sacramento, or in Elk Grove, I guess. 16 years old, I'm now in Elk Grove. Almost slipped on that water. But I'm not. Now I'm in Elk Grove, and I mean, I had this Bible now, so I read the Bible, and it enlightened me a lot. Like, I learned a lot just from the paraphrased Bible, what it meant to serve Lord, what it meant to call Lord, Lord, like what it meant to change your life, what it meant to convert. And that taught me right then and there that even though a lot of people claimed to be righteous and claimed that they were of God, they weren't. It wasn't about your words, and it wasn't about how you felt. It was about how you lived. And once I learned that, it kind of woke me up to something deeper. To, it's like, okay, so I've never genuinely been on the righteous path, which I know. My life did not reflect the life that God calls us or me to live, right? I was still obsessed with money, still, and like I said, I was only like 16, 17. I hadn't made $2,000 at this point, but I'm obsessed with money. In my head, there's gonna be a point in my life where I make so much money, it doesn't make sense. And that's what I lived for. That's what I dedicated my life to. Money, you know, money was important. Having money was important. Making money was important. I felt like if I didn't have money, I was useless. I wasn't of value. And I started to read the book a little bit more, and God says otherwise. God doesn't see your physical, he sees your heart. My heart was never for God. It was never leaning towards God. It never wanted to love God, but God saw my heart, and God saw that there was good in your heart, because I had made it all the way up to 16 without joining a gang, without falling into heavy drugs, without, you know, pimping out women. And I can't do stuff like that. Like, my heart is not in it. I can't serve drugs knowing that this could kill you, knowing that if I give you this, once I leave or once you leave, you could die you could die tonight, and all because of me, for a little quick buck. And it just wasn't worth it. To me, it just wasn't worth somebody's life. Being a pimp, I just couldn't do it. Like I have a really soft heart for women. I can't watch a woman go sell herself. It hurts me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of dude that think I could change your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hasn't been proven yet to happen, but I believe, you know, it's possible. So in Elk Grove, still weren't making many friends, still weren't really talking to girls. But around this time, Andrew Tate hit the scene. And that was not, it wasn't the worst thing that happened to me, honestly. It was actually pretty good. I actually started working out. I actually started to care about quitting porn. And I actually tried to stop quitting porn. And I could feel the effects of it. I tried to get into the Army. I really did. They invited me out to a few PTs. It was fun. Like, I loved the natural energy. You know, I love having natural energy. Just being ready to do anything at any time. I don't have to be like, oh wait, I'm tired, or give me a minute. Like, no, okay, let's do it, let's go. Especially being young, like, don't waste your youth, right? And so I tried to get into the Army. I know I have asthma, and they said that might have been a barrier, but if I learned how to control it, which is possible, it wouldn't be a problem. I ended up giving up on that, just being undisciplined, not even unmotivated, just undisciplined, just not wanting to go the distance, putting in the work. So I quit. And sorry, the background noise is distracting me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I quit. And I just went back to doing what I did. I started jerking off again because it was not easy to quit. It just wasn't easy to quit. So, but I was doing a little bit better. Like, I was watching these Andrew Tate reels and stuff, and I started to do a little bit better. Now, when it came to women, nothing changed about how I felt about them. But my interactions with them did change. I started to be a lot more quick with them. Like, okay, it's whatever. Like, I don't have time for this. Whatever this is, I don't have time for it. Disregarding them as if I had options, and I did not have options. Forgive me. I didn't have options, and I was treating every interaction with the woman like I had somebody else, you know. Now, what it did do was make those women a little like, what? Like, who do you think you are type? But it wasn't a good thing, you know. It wasn't a good feeling, because I didn't have what I acted like I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I acted so high value. I can't even explain what that means to you now. I don't even know what that means now. High value. But yeah, I started to act very, very Tate. I started holding my hands like this. Literally, anytime I was just sitting around thinking, I would just sit like this and hold my hands like this. Right? Really trying to develop this Tate mentality. It just was corny. It was corny, not because it's Andrew Tate, but because I'm trying to develop and be something or someone that I'm not. His message, I took his message completely out of the ordinary. It was just about elevating yourself and feeling better about yourself. How you should as a man, right? You should be feeling confident in your own skin, confident in your own body, confident in your own health. And so I took the message completely out of whack, and it didn't help me grow at all. So we ended up getting kicked out of the house. Me and another kid, we ended up getting kicked out of the house because I can't even explain why. Like, it was such a weird interaction. We wake up on a Sunday morning, the whole house is empty. Nobody's in the house. It's just me and this dude. Nobody's in the house. We're confused on what's going on. And when they do come, the cops are here. We're like, what are the cops here for? Apparently, the man of the house overheard a conversation between me and the roommate saying that we're gonna kill him. And that's a pretty serious thing to hear. And I understand, even now, I'm not mad about it. I know I never said that, because if I'm being honest, that was the best foster house I'd been in. Like, I was learning stuff. Things were structured. I had a schedule. I even started to wanting to go to the Army. So I had started to develop some sense of action, if you will. So the fact this right here happened, it kind of discouraged me a little bit. But to me, it didn't faze me. I'm like, you know what? God got me. you know, this is just something that has to happen. So we ended up going to another hold. I don't remember what it was called, but there was some pretty women in there. You know, there's this one light skinned girl in there. I didn't talk to her or nothing because she was so loud and it smelled like cigarettes. And we were at the time we're like 16, 17. Yeah, it smelled like weed and cigarettes. It just wasn't a good scent. So back to Stockton we go. I'm at Mary Graham again, which is a children's shelter, by the way. They hold you there until you're 18, if you have to be. So once you're 18, you can't go back. I ended up going to another foster home. It was an old lady. I started doing wrestling a bit more, and by this time I'm going to Stagg High School. So just I haven't been missing the school. So in Elk Grove, I was going to Monterey Trail. Out here out in Stockton, I was going to Stagg High School, which was the school I ended up graduating from in 2023. Still dealing with the porn addiction, still falling deep into porn, and I hadn't yet become who I wanted to be, you know. And so yeah, I started doing wrestling a bit more. I didn't make friends. Like I said, I hadn't been able to make friends, but I didn't mind talking to people, like daily interactions with people. It was cool to me. I just didn't like friends. I didn't like having friends because I hadn't had friends, and I just couldn't imagine like people wanting to be around me, if I may say. So I was kind of an outcast loner still. Like, I talked to the people on the wrestling team, but it was nothing serious. Like, we didn't really hang out. We didn't really nothing. We just, hey, what's up? You coming to practice? Yeah, you come practice? No. We talk about the matches or whatever, and it was just that. And I'm back to the foster house. I had started doing a lot more edibles, and then I started to do shrooms. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to tell you about the time I did acid. I was at the group home, Victor. We did some acid tabs. And it was just the most demonic experience. Like, I saw a literal goat head coming out of the wall. And we don't even gotta get into that because that's just weird. But yeah, so yeah, I ended up doing shrooms in high school with one of my homies named Gabe. And he would make edibles. So I would have him like, yo, you think you could whip me up some edibles, bro? He'll whip me up some edibles. I'm in class eating edibles. Come home, eat some edibles, right? And I ended up getting kicked off the wrestling team because coach texted me, why weren't you at practice? And I didn't know what to say. Like, I was high while he texted me, and I couldn't lie. So I said I was high. He was like, what? I'm thinking that, like, you know, it's nothing serious because I'm not at school high. I'm at home. He was like, yo, you're off the team. I was like, oh, wow, serious. He was like, you just told me you were high. Like, what do you expect me? Oh, okay, so you at practice? No, you're cut. And that was it. I was off the wrestling team. And ended up getting, wow, this is so much moving around. So this had to be like maybe like 2022, maybe early 2020. No, I graduated 2023. Yeah, probably like 2022, early 2023. I ended up leaving. No, I graduated first, I think. Yes, I graduated. I left that foster home, obviously, but I graduated in between. So I was at Mary Graham while graduating. So this was like May 2023, I guess. I graduated at 17, and boom, I started smoking, y'all. It happened. Homie rolled up I bit my tongue again. Homie rolled up the joint. I smoked the joint. I got high. I felt good. I felt grown. You know, I'm outside with the homies smoking. And I left that foster home, and then I ended up, oh yeah, so I started smoking. Once I left Mary Graham, I went to some little town called Oakdale. I'm not sure how far that is from Stockton, but now here we go. Relationships. I don't even know if I want to talk about. But anyways, ended up meeting this girl. Not gonna say her name, but she did live there. I was 17 at the time. She was 15 at the time. And we started kind of messing around the house and stuff. And one day we go to the park. We had one of the homies that lived there. He was 17 too. We were the same age. We were always just out of the house. You know, drinking, stealing alcohol bottles from the grocery store. Literally big alcohol bottles, like big tequila bottles. You know, Smirnoff and just all the vodka, all of this, right? 17, smoking and drinking, right? One day she comes with us, and I don't know how this ended up happening. Like I didn't call her out to come, you know. She was a bit hard-headed. You really couldn't tell her no, you know, especially not being related to her in any way. I didn't necessarily care that she came, you know what I'm saying? I know we didn't call this girl out here anyways. She came out here and we was gonna do this anyways, if that makes sense. Like, with or without her, this is what I was gonna go do. We get to the park, and as soon as we get to the park, she just starts downing alcohol, just like water falling in like it's water, right? Obviously, nobody else at the park is really concerned, you know. But I was, because I come on now, you can't get anything like that past me. You're drinking like that, something's going on, like. And I started to care maybe a little too much. I'm like, yeah, you need to chill. Like I went from drinking and smoking now to focusing on her, like taking away the alcohol bottles and watching her drink and stuff. And now she's drunk. She's saying things that she don't mean. I'm drunk. I'm listening. You know, it was just a complete mess. And we ended up making out at the park. Yeah, it's not something I am. I'm taking this off. This it's like stuck to me. But anyways, I was not used to such flirty energy, and it got me, bro. Like, it really got me. And so she ends up passing out, and everybody starts leaving the park. And now it's just me and her. I couldn't leave her there because we live together, number one. And number two, I started to now feel responsible. Since I started to care about how much she was drinking and care about what's going on, now not necessarily like, oh, she's a child now, but she's drunk. You know, somebody has to be responsible. I won't just leave you here laying out in the park, drunk and passed out. It's just not ideal. I tried picking her up and walking her home. I knew I couldn't make it 2.8 miles back from the park to the house on foot with her in my hands. So I had to call the cops, and I hate interacting with the cops, bro. I just hate it, right? Mind you, I had some weed in my backpack. I had some alcohol in my backpack. So this doesn't look good on me. There's a girl passed out drunk, and I got all, Anyway, so the cops get here, and it was a woman cop. And just the way she started looking at me as if I'm some type of perv or something like that. Like, please, like, I don't like that image. She's like, so what's going on? I'm like, well, We came to the park. We had some drinks, and she was like, "It's just you guys?" I'm like, "No, it was some other kids here, but they left or whatever." She's like, "Who brought the alcohol?" I'm like, "I don't know. Everybody brought alcohol." And so a male cop comes, and he searches my backpack, and he finds the alcohol. Obviously he took it. He didn't find the weed though. He didn't find the weed though. Anyway, so they ended up taking me to the cop. They ended up picking me up in the cop car. They took her to the hospital. I get back to the foster house and basically had to explain to the foster mom what's going on. And she was mad because apparently the girl was not supposed to be out of the house with us, right? Now you can't look at me. I ain't know. I'm thinking like, like I said, with or without her, this is what we were gonna go do. So just the fact that she was here, it didn't really change nothing. But it ended up changing everything. I can't believe that. But, so things ended up being really weird around the house. Like I couldn't look at her really or talk to her because now it was like I was now at risk for catching a charge. There's an underage girl and an underage boy with drinks, but I'm older now. I'm almost 18. So they're not even really looking at me as underage, but she's like 15, right? So they're like, there's this girl at a park, you had alcohol, and they brought it to her, the big bottle of New Amsterdam. And yeah, so it just wasn't looking good for me at all. Fast forward, we ended up going to this like summer camp out in Modesto. I think it's out like Jack Hazard or something like that. And we at this camp, and it was weird coming from where we came from to this camp, because it's like I didn't necessarily know. I didn't really have anything to say to her, truth be told. The situation happened and I was ready to just move forward. So we get there and it's a bunch of pretty women. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere you look is another pretty girl, and she's like 18, you know what I'm saying, 22, you know what I'm saying? Your boy was 17, alright? I'm like, oh yeah, this is my pool of women right here. You know, it's maturity going on, you know what I'm saying? They develop. I'm thinking, and I'm gonna be honest, I had brought like 2 condoms with me. I thought I was gonna get busy. Couldn't have been any wrong, right? So I met this girl. I'm not gonna say her name, but we start talking, you know, and she was like a really like educated, cultured girl. Like I don't know if she was like Hawaiian or what, or but she could have been black. She could have been mixed. I don't know, right? But I'm talking to this girl, and at first I wasn't really having feelings for her, but I was flustered, if that makes sense. Like I could look at her forever and just listen to her talk, if that makes sense. But not love. It wasn't that. Maybe it might have been lust. Call it what you want, because I brought condoms. It was lust. I'm just gonna say that. And you know, the girl from the park, from the foster home, is kind of sitting on the side just watching it. You know, I'm not necessarily paying attention to her because I'm not thinking anything of it. Like I'm thinking whatever happened was just a mistake. Even though I felt deeply into it, I figured it was just a mistake. The liquor was involved, drugs or weed was involved, and it wasn't real. Now I'm sober and I'm talking to this girl. She's like standing up. She's like right here to me. You know what I'm saying? She's like right here, like literally right to my chest. I'm looking down at her and I'm just like, yeah, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. She's talking. And we look at each other in the eyes, and I can just see her beautiful. Anyways, all right. Girl next to me starts tripping. She's like, I hate you. And just plainly said it just like that. Like, I hate you. And she walks off. Whatever. We ended up dating, and that ended up being toxic. I ended up cutting myself, quite literally. I got some cuts here, some cuts here, some cuts here. A few cuts on my hands. They're faded now. You probably can see cuts here, cuts here, cuts here, cuts here. I would even have her cut me. I would literally give her the knife and tell her to put a few slices. Like, I got one on my chest. Sorry. I don't know. I got one on my chest, and yeah, it was really toxic. Really toxic, really complicated. But I did have a lot of love for her. Once I developed love, once I started to see that it was more than what just happened at the park, I started to actually be in love with her. And yes, she was light skinned. You know, so I thought I hit the jackpot. Home run. But we ended up 2 weeks at the summer camp, leaving, going back to the foster home. I got kicked out. Now I'm in Modesto, smoking weed, still drinking, still outside, still stealing from the mall. All of this. I was 17 at the time. It was whatever to me. I had no relationship with God. None. I you can see from the chronological time, he wasn't even on my mind. I was doing whatever I wanted to do. So I ended up getting kicked out of this house in Modesto because we were staying out. You know, we were supposed to be in the house by 10. I'm out coming in by 1 in the morning, 12 p.m. You know, just reckless, doing whatever I wanted to do, rebellious. So I ended up getting kicked out of there. Ended up in Turlock. And it was probably the nicest house I've been in. Dude's name was Gary. He was cool. He wasn't really there all the time. I guess that's how he had like a really nice house. Like he had a pool in his backyard. Like, I guess out there they do a lot of farming and stuff. So he had some money. And I was just reckless. Like I don't know. Like the girl that I ended up, the light skin I ended up dating, she actually, we were on the phone one time, and she actually told me, she was like, you need to get right with God. And she was like, because if you go to hell, me and God gonna be laughing at you in heaven. And that just, it was weird to me, because I've never heard that from her, and I've never heard that from anybody. God laughing at me, you laughing at me from heaven. And it sat with me for a long time. And I ended up being homeless in Turlock for a little bit because I put some holes in Gary's wall. My anger. I put some holes in his wall, and he was like, look, man, I don't know if you got anywhere to go, but you can't be here. Now, in my mind, I was like, you know what? I don't need this. I'm going to go back to Modesto. I know some people out there, back to Modesto. But Modesto is away from Turlock. And so I ended up homeless for a little bit. I ended up going back, of course. I walked like 10 miles, bruh, back to the house. And I had to ask him, I was like, bro, can I come in? Like, you feel me? Whatever the case may be. So we had a long talk. He was like, bro, like, you're getting too old. Like, you're 17, you're about to be 18. Like, you gotta start taking control of your life a little bit. And I had to agree. So I ended up back up at Mary Graham again. Now I'm closer to 18 than ever, right? Fast forward, I age out October 19th. That's my birthday. October 19th comes, I'm out of there that day. My older brother comes, picks me up, and that was that. I'm 18 now. Now here's where we get to the most demoralizing and embarrassing part of my life. Lord, give me the strength. All right. Like I said, I had an intense love for money. So I would literally do anything for it. Quite literally anything. And you're about to find that out. So I'm walking to the mall out in Stockton, and some dude pulls up in his car. And he's like, "Yo, what you out here doing? Whoop-de-whoop." I get into the car with him, and I'm thinking he's about to like, because he asked me if I smoke. I had some weed on me, whatever the case may have been. And I'm thinking he's about to, put me on, because I was trying to make some money. I was like, put me on. I've sold weed before, but nothing seriously. So he starts asking me about the prostitute game. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know about that. Moral of this interaction was, I let him I let him ejaculate me for $2,000. Now, in my mind, that was a good exchange. I didn't have to do anything, and I got $2,000 after it. No, I didn't see any of it, and the shame rained down on me. I went back to my apartment. I couldn't even look in the mirror the same way I could barely look in the camera right now. I couldn't look at myself because at that point I knew I had fallen. I had fallen like into a depth where I didn't understand how I even got here. And it was bad. So I started smoking more. The smoking took the pain away. It numbed the pain. I didn't have to think about it. I was high. As long as I was high, I was okay. And ended up getting a job. I started landscaping, which is pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie, landscaping, pretty cool job. But it was hot, and it was not the good conditions. So now I'm making some, I'm making better money than what I had set up for myself in the beginning. I tried to scam people. Scammer got scammed. Literally, bro, scammer got scammed. Scammer got scammed. So I was not proud of myself and how I was living at 18. Like, I didn't feel good about it. But working made me feel good. I started to, like, now I had a better sense of who God is and who he is, I guess. But I still wasn't dedicated to living the life of Christ. I wasn't dedicated to following him, wasn't dedicated to picking up my cross and walking. Because now that I know what it means to pick up your cross and walk, it quite literally means pick up your shame, pick up your guilt, pick up your embarrassment, pick up your pain, pick up what makes you proud, pick up your sin, because you got to face your sin. Walking with God, you have to face your sin. Like, this is the biggest moment for me right here, just confessing this. Like, I've never done this before. Nobody in my life has ever known any of this. And it's on the internet now, publicly. The world is now seeing it, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? God right here. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Your boy is feeling good. Your boy feeling good. But I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good. I felt embarrassed, full of shame. I just felt dirty, impure. And I was. And so started smoking. And now Victor comes back into the picture. Now, you guys haven't heard about him in a minute. He actually started on the path of righteousness, right? And I was smoking weed. He had quit smoking. I started smoking weed. And he would get around me and he was like, wow, I can't believe you're smoking now. And we would have talks. And every time he'd come around me, we'd talk about God. I'd be high, smoke would be blowing. But I didn't feel good. To me, it felt heavy to be doing this much sin, but having God coming out of our mouth. And I used to tell him, like, yeah, I don't think I'm ever quit smoking. Like, I love being high. I don't think I'll ever quit smoking. But smoking didn't do nothing for me. I was losing jobs, losing opportunities. I didn't have a set schedule. I was quite literally rolling around in my own filth. That's what I see sin as. It's filth, mud. I was smoking weed, beating it, and getting on the game. Just a whole lame type of lifestyle. And so we actually went to Sac. We were in old downtown Sac, and some dude, I don't know what they do after they have these preachers or these people walking around preaching, and he kind of talked to us. And I used to reject these type of things. I used to just ignore them or tell them to go away because I didn't want to hear it. But I'm 18 at the time, and I'm like, speak. I want to hear you. What do you have to say? You know, I got wax with me. I used to smoke a lot of wax, so I have my wax pen with me. And I'm high. He comes, he's talking. So I had to ask him. I'm like, does God love everybody? You know, he was like, and I say, can God love everybody? And he said, no. And that right there, to me, I took that as God doesn't love me. God can't love me because my sin is so intense and I've done so much demoralizing stuff in my life. God can't love me. I'm beyond it. It's whatever. You know, I used to look up to rappers like NBA Youngboy and all these other people who didn't claim or care to be of God, you know, demon babies. And that's what I centered my life around. And fast forward, I stopped talking to Victor. I called him one day and I'm like, bro, we got to stop kicking it, bro, because I'm not going to quit smoking and you're on the path to God, and you know what I'm saying? I said, here we go again. I hate God. Like, I quite literally confessed, like, I hate God. I can't seem to get over it. I hate God. And he was like, well, dang, like, that's intense, but you got to tell him that. He's like, don't run away from him. Like, you know, he doesn't want you to run away from him. He wants you to be honest. He wants you to talk to him. Not that he doesn't know this already, but he wants you to talk to him. And so, I was like, nah, man, just like have a good life, because I'm not gonna give up smoking. Like I in my head, I figured that I would figure out a way in the future that I could still smoke and still become successful. Because I had saw so many people doing it, so many rappers, Pierre Bourne, all these people smoking weed and all this, and they have a successful life. I'm like, my life won't be unsuccessful just because I'm smoking, right? And then I remember telling Victor, I'm like, everybody that follows God, everybody that's on that path of righteousness, they're poor. They're poor, or they're barely making it. You know, I don't want to barely make it. Middle class? No, I never want to worry about money ever again. Ever. Even if I never spend $100 of it, I don't want to worry about money. And I was corrupted. As you can see, you know, I was corrupted. Ended up stopping talking to Victor, and I kept smoking. You know, I was going to work, and you know, still, but nothing changed. Smoking, going to work, drinking, playing a video game, smoking, going to work, all of this, nothing changed. And I ended up quitting that job, and I thought that I was gonna find another job in like a few months, or it was gonna be good. It wasn't. I ended up unemployed still to this day. So, but a change did happen real recently. Once I left Stockton, I didn't tell. Okay, wait, I'm skipping some stuff. Right? So, boom. I turned 19. Which is here we are today, 19. And I had sex. It felt amazing, and I still have to, Lord forgive me because I'm thinking about it now. I still think about her. You know, I still think about it. It was just a different experience. I realized then that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. I couldn't just get high, have sex, and then play the video game. It just wasn't fulfilling. I'm like, I have to have more. I have to do more. So I ended up setting up a moving away from Stockton. I didn't tell her I was moving. I didn't tell family I was moving. I didn't tell anybody I was leaving. But you know, I called one of my other friends from the group home, I'm on the phone with him. He's like, yo, bro, just come out to Rockland, bro. Like, we gonna get our life started, bro. We gonna be doing these last to get knocked out, bro. We gonna be, we gonna turn up this summer. And I'm like, all right, bet. I'm on my way. Fast forward, I move out here to Rockland, which is where I'm at now. Beautiful, beautiful city, by the way. They got a lot of agriculture and hiking trails and stuff that I haven't really gotten into yet, but we on our way. And I get out here. We had this. He's a really cool dude. Like, I have no problems with anybody in my life that I fell out with. I got no problems. Like, we could, It's just that I'm gonna sacrifice all of this so I can have a life of God, so I can be closer to somebody greater, somebody that will sacrifice more for me without thinking about it. And so I was still smoking, but it got to a point where it started to make me throw up. Like, every time I hit the wax pen, I'm throwing up. I'm feeling nauseous. My head hurts. Like, I can't even swallow my own spit. Like, it just, ugh. And so I kept throwing up. And I just realized, like, bro, this is it. I'm not going back to buy another wax pen. I'm not going back to buy weed. I used to tell myself I was going to quit, or I was going to limit how much I smoke. But as long as I had it and as long as I was able to smoke, I wasn't going to quit. I knew that. And so, yeah, I kind of just made the decision. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm done. I'm done with all of this. And then, a side note, I started seeing all these like videos on Instagram and TikTok about what they're doing with kids. Like, kids are coming up missing and all this weird. It's so much weird stuff going on in this world. It's not right. Nothing that's going on in this world is right. And I kind of, in my head, I dwelled on that. And I'm like, nah, something has to change. I want to be a part of a change for a better change. Like, I have to live my life for somebody that can change all of this and make it right. And who's the only person that can do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? It says, if you can't read it, it says, the Lord is my shepherd. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. Right. Nice little LED lamp right there. But I'm like, you know what? This is it. Like, I'm tired of living this life of falling into sin, and then when life gets bad, then I want to go pray to God and cry to God. Which kind of woke me up to something. People who act like they don't believe, I don't want to say people who act like they don't believe in God, but people who act like they aren't afraid of God, that's such the biggest lie. Because you could mistake God's love, and all of a sudden that love could go away, and now it's nothing but wrath. Like, if you've ever prayed and you know that God didn't answer you and he turned his face from you, that's when you know. Like, I literally was in that feeling of, God, please don't turn away from me. Like, my life is nothing. This world is nothing. I literally, face to the floor, started crying, bawling my eyes out. Like, Lord, I just want a family, Lord. Please, like, I just want someone. I don't want this no more. I'm on the floor crying, and that's when I decided, like, you know what, this is it. I'm changing my life, and I'm not going back. I'm not going back to who I used to be. I'm not going back to what I used to do. I picked up my cross and started walking. It's a heavy burden. It's heavy. But as long as God is in front of me and I'm following him, it's okay. I haven't lost anything important. Not one friend, not any family member, not anything in my life that I lost is important. Like, one thing I did learn is that every friend I ever had, we were only friends because of sin. It was because of sin that I was around these people, right? For example, me and Victor fell out. I didn't smoke, and he did smoke. We were cool. I started smoking, he chose God, and it was just an uneasy feeling because it's like, what do? We just talk about God and I'm not on that path and you are. It's disrespectful to me. We don't need to talk no more. You don't smoke. We don't need to chill no more. And so that's kind of what happened with the, the homie that got me out here. I'm like, yo, we always talked about it, yo. Like, we got to get this up. Like, I can't come out there with y'all doing this if y'all just going to be out there smoking. And, he was like, yo, it's who I am for real. I love that. I love when people realize what they want. And I'm not saying like I would rather people choose their sin, but I want people to really ask themselves, do I really love God? Because to love God means to live for him. To wake up daily and throw all that old stuff away. All the weed, throw it away. All the porn, get rid of it. You say you love God, live for him. God loved me enough and us enough to die for us. Name somebody that's gonna die for you. I can't think of anybody that'll do that. Not for 50 million. Like, nobody is going to lay their life down for me. And so once that kind of dawned on me, I realized like I'm not missing out on anything. Like this world isn't doing anything but having sex. Quite literally. They ain't doing nothing but having sex and killing each other. And I had sex before and it changed. It literally was like a light bulb. I was like, you know what? I literally sat, I stood in front of the window like this. I was like, yeah, I need to change. Like, this is such a good feeling that I don't want to ruin it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a good experience that I don't want to just be around everybody, giving it to everybody, being intimate with everybody. I got to do this right now. And here we are, 2025. I'm following God. I'm keeping God in my rear view and in my in my focus, because I really do need him. Any moment I slip away or any moment I'm out of his presence and he's not there, I'm basically dead, which is what I learned. The wages of sin is death, not physical. When he told Adam and Eve that if they ate the apple, that they would die, he didn't mean physically. He meant spiritually. Spiritually, you'll be dead. We'll be disconnected. Which changed my entire look on God. God is not some being that's tempting you to sin. God doesn't tempt, okay? What he is going to do is test you. And I don't see how people are mad at that. Oh, that's cruel. How is it cruel? You say you love God. You say you want to live a life with him. He's going to test that. Do you want me or do you want sin? And he tested me plenty times and I chose otherwise. To live for God is to deny yourself, quite literally. Whatever the world is doing, deny that and follow God. To me, it's nothing. It's not a bad thing. I used to look at it as like a bad thing, a boring thing. It was lame. It's just life. It's just a different way of living, a better way of living. I'm not smoking anymore and I feel better. My mood has changed. I'm not, touching myself. I feel amazing. I have better conversations with women. I now see women the same way I used to when I was younger. Like nothing, any change that's happening is not bad change. You know what I'm saying? Like, people love to say, oh, well, if God's a loving God, why does he get jealous? First of all, let's talk about that a little bit. Yes, God is a jealous God. He gave you life. He created all of this for us, and you're gonna. It's like, I got my King Kaneki right here. You know what I'm saying? But just imagine if I made like a gold-plated King Kaneki, and I just start worshiping it. What? Yeah, he's gonna be jealous. To me, it's a plus one, because it's like there's an eternal being that's jealous of losing me. No woman has ever been jealous to lose me. Nobody has ever been jealous of me going the other way, but God is. Oh, what? I know where home is, man. Like, I know where I belong. This world don't care about you. They don't care about me. And God always has. think about it every time. I literally should be dead. Asthma should have killed me a long time ago. I told you, they were neglecting me of it to the point where my lungs are showing. I had tried to literally kill myself at like 13, and then again at like 15, and then again at like 18. Like I tried to off myself, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me try God. What do I have to lose? I've done everything else to try and get a gain for something I wanted, and I ended up losing. I have nothing to lose. I have nobody to lose. I choose God. And that's what free will is. Your choice to choose God or to choose you. People say, I don't know my purpose in life. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, you're supposed to follow God. You're supposed to pick up your Christ, follow God, and represent Him. You know, righteousness, right? But we choose what we want. Well, and I want to be an entrepreneur, or and I want to be a content creator, or and I want to be, you know what I'm saying? So when you start trying to decide what you want, God isn't involved in that. God's not a part of that. Of course, He's always quick to be there whenever you call on Him, but God, that's a path away from God. You know, here's righteousness, and here's what you want. You're going here, and God's like, okay, I'm gonna be right here. You know, whenever you feel, I'm gonna be right here. But you walk away from God. And so once I kind of thought about that, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. I'm gonna live for God. That's my life now. That's my purpose. That's my job. That's my employment. I now work for the kingdom. I work for the Lord, you know, which is what this was. I know it's been like an hour, 40 minutes, but I don't even know if I could post this whole thing on YouTube. Anyways, I haven't lost anything. Now I know I still have problems, you know, I'm very impatient, and I had a hard time being content with what I had. I felt like I deserved more, obviously, because I'm thinking about my life. Like, ate out the trash can, ate off the floor, like, people look down on me. I deserve to be at the top. That's literally how I was thinking not that long ago. Actually, I was just like, the devil got in my head, and he was like, you're still eating the same way that they fed you. Like slop, beans and whatever, just a whole bunch of slop. And it started getting to me, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I deserve to eat better. I deserve to have money. I deserve. And it starts to build up this image of exhaustion to where I belong on top of the world. And, you know, that's where Hebrews 13:5 comes in. Keep your life free from the love of money. The love of money, clearly, you can see my life. The love of money got me nowhere. And be content with what you have. I was not content. I wanted more. I demanded more out of life. I felt like I deserved more out of life. For He has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And it's powerful and it's important, because it's the truth. It's a promise. Like, I'm worried about all these worldly things, the video games, the women, the money, the jewelry, the status, when all these things don't mean anything. None of this matters. When I die, it's gonna be here. It's just entertainment, attraction, something to take you away from God and focus on something that doesn't matter. So then when you die and you face God, you have nothing to show for your life. Nothing. And that put me in a whole different mindset about celebrities and all these people that we just glorify. And to me, they're just normal people who just got rich. They were poor. They struggled. They're just normal people. To me, everybody's important. Like, everybody's important. I'm not just saying that. Like, you, whoever's watching this, you're important, because there's something about you that's different from me. For example, you could probably draw. You know what? No, let's do it. You could probably draw. I can't. You know what I'm saying? I can't. I'm going to try and draw this Kim Kaneki in front of me, and you could probably do it better without really trying, right? I'm going to try and draw Ken Cunningham right now while talking to y'all. So look, to me, everybody's important. Everybody's more than just a normal person, or as this generation likes to call it, an NPC. I don't like that term. I don't like treating people like they're lesser than me, homeless people, because there's always something you can learn from somebody. Like literally, you could talk to anybody and have the most life-changing experience. All of a sudden, this person owns a dealership and he has this little car show going on, and but he works at McDonald's. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much about people that you just don't know, and people are over here following celebrities. Like, these people are just normal people who have a lot of money. You listen to their music, they're crying in their songs. Oh, I'm in so much pain. Oh, what we would do, all this stupid stuff. It didn't matter to me. Fame does not matter to me. I don't even like being in the spotlight. I don't like the attention. You know what I'm saying? It's a little too much for me. I don't know where to start. Oh yeah, by the way, you know what I'm saying? This oh. Wait, let me fix that. Did I drop it? Yeah, I did drop it. Give me a second. Here we go. Here we go. Boom. Oh, don't tell me it's dead. This is. All right. So it might be dead. Batteries might be dead, but that's another little Ken Cunningham lamp right there, right? Tokyo Ghoul. W Tokyo Ghoul. But anyways, everybody's important. Everybody's more than just a 9-to-5 worker. Everybody's more than just a parent. Everybody's more than just a normal person. There's always something about you that is unique. You were made in the image of God. There's something about you that's unique. Maybe it's the way you think. Maybe it's the impact you have on people. There's something about you that's important, and it's special. It really is. Like, I'm not just talking. Like, it really is special. Like, I'm not better than you. Nobody's better than you. You just have to be willing to step out and step into that. And that's God's calling you to Him. You know, He wants to. Okay, I messed up. He wants to have a connection with you. You know. All right. I don't know how to start. Now this is my motivation right here, y'all. I'm trying to image. I might have to trace it. But anyways, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's something about you that's special and unique that's different from the person next to you. And I feel like if people started to appreciate that a lot more, they would realize, like, wow, I'm special. And it's like, it's serious, bro. Like, I ain't even just talking, like, there's really a lot of people out here that are special, but they don't see themselves as that. And God sees you as more than what you see yourself. Like, you couldn't imagine how God sees you, because this world doesn't reflect that. You don't reflect that. But it's been almost 2 hours. I have told and said everything. And it's all honest. It's all hardcore truth. I told no lie. But I'm still not perfect. I still struggle with what music I'm supposed to listen to, really. If I'm being honest, Christian music is kind of boring. Like, I'm not, forgive me, Lord, but Christian music is, so I'm either listening to clean versions of Pierre Bourne, or I'm listening to instrumentals that don't have words at all. And to be honest, I like those. Like the ones you see on TikTok, those, I like those. But I'm not perfect. And that's what this walk with God is about. It's not about you being perfect. It's He's perfect. But follow His footsteps and be righteous. And then show everybody else. Like, if I wanted to get somebody to believe in God's love or to believe in His existence, I wouldn't point out, oh, with the trees and the bushes and the sky. No. That's not gonna do enough. It's about the impact. It's about the truth of your life, the truth of my life. Somebody, if anybody watches this, could relate to it. And at the same point in time, your pain and your transgressions, it's supposed to lead you to God in the end, not lead you away from him. It might lead you away from family. It might lead you away from people, and that's okay. It happened to God, all right? These people killed him. People who walked with him, like people who heard his word and saw him, still didn't believe. So for me to bring up the trees and all of this, it's not gonna help anybody get to God. You have to speak from truth. Your testimony can help somebody. Now, yeah, it's embarrassing. Okay, yeah, okay, like, well, okay, yeah, it's embarrassing and it's shameful, but that's the burden of the cross. It's a shame and a bunch of guilt at the end of the day. I'm not happy of who I've been, and out of everything I've done, I don't deserve God's love or his grace or his forgiveness. But it's because of his grace that I can be forgiven and I can have a clean slate. So, I hope this helps y'all. It's the longest video I've ever done, especially for a first video. I hope this helps y'all. There will be more. Once I hit the end button, I'm gonna go in the mirror. I'm gonna reflect, because I've been faced with my shame again. My guilt is out here in 4K. But I really do hope that this did help somebody, because I've had a tough time getting to this point with God. And this time it's serious. Like, it's not just no fire that's gonna burn out. I have not really been feeling excited or engaged, but I have to. It's okay, because God doesn't promise that this is gonna be fun. He says the path is narrow, but it's worth it in the end. If you can't sacrifice whatever years of your life that you have for God, and he said, I know, it's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't see it as important, but him dying for me, that's enough for me to get rid of all of this. Okay, forget it, God. Come on, let's do this. I still have a problem trying to prove to God that I'm strong. Like, for example, I've developed like a little sleep schedule. I go to sleep at like 8, 9 p.m. Because what am I doing all the way awake? God encourages rest. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, don't worry, God, I can stay up all night and then I can wake up and serve you in the morning. That's cap. Literally, I didn't wake up till like 11 in the morning. That's almost noon. Like, what are you doing sleep for that long? Get up and serve the kingdom. So God doesn't want you to do anything on your own. He wants you to let him do it. Let him fight for you. Let him be strong for you. That's what this is. Just walk with him and trust him and love him. Love yourself and love your neighbor, y'all. And with that being said, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.